I also wanted to begin by introducing myself, in part because I take nothing for granted. In fact, recently I was asked to present at a course for policymakers at another institution whose name I'm told I should not mention while on these hallowed grounds. Let's, for argument's sake, call it Marvard. At the conclusion of the program, the organisers asked students for individual comments on each session, including my own, and in the interest of generous transparency, I was then sent that feedback. As I scrolled through the results, I noticed a note at the bottom of the form from an attendee that simply read, "I appreciated the session, although I didn't know who she was. And so, hello, my name is Jacinda Ardern, and I was for a time the Prime Minister of New Zealand."
Behind me right now, 10,000 nurses, teachers, farmers, parents, health workers have been told no jab, no job, have been told we're going to be in a segregated nation. We stand here today in Auckland, 10,000 strong, and we're putting our government on notice. Jacinda out! Jacinda out!
And so today I'm announcing that I will not be seeking re-election and that my term as Prime Minister will conclude no later than the 7th of February. There are some who say that empathy is some kind of threat to Western civilization. There is much I could say to that claim. Instead, I will just say this. Empathy has never started a war, never sought to take the dignity of others. If someone refuses in our facilities to be tested, they have to keep staying. So they won't be able to leave after 14 days. They have to stay on for another 14 days. So it's a pretty good incentive. You either get your tests done and make sure you're cleared, or we will keep you in a facility longer. So I think most people will look at that and say, I'll take the test. The daily reminder of climate change that bangs on our door but falls on deaf ears at the highest echelons of power. Challenges to rules around trade, increases in migration flows, and a decreasing regard for civil rights and human rights, including the right to be who you are.
The other idea, of course, is getting tougher, just getting tougher. No job if you don't have a jab, no fun if you don't have a jab. Will you get tougher if you can't reach those upper limits of the target?
It will become very clear to people that if you are not vaccinated, there will be things that you miss out on, everyday things you will miss out on.
Not to mention an environment rife with mis and disinformation, fueling not what I would characterise as polarisation, but entrenchment. We will share with you the most up-to-date information daily. For that information, do feel free to visit at any time to clarify any rumour you may hear, covid19.govt.nz. Otherwise, dismiss anything else. We will continue to be your single source of truth. When the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was presented to the UN, it was one of America's great wartime leaders, Secretary Marshall, who cautioned that not only does the systematic and deliberate denial of basic human rights lie at the root of most of our troubles, but they have repercussions. Fresh from experiencing the ravages of World War II, he reminded us all that, quote, governments which systematically disregard the rights of their own people are not likely to respect the rights of other nations and other people, and are likely to seek their objectives by coercion and force in the international field, close quote. So my message to New Zealanders who have not yet had their first dose, if you want summer, if you want to go to bars and restaurants, get vaccinated. If you want to get a haircut, get vaccinated. If you want to go to a concert or a festival, get vaccinated. If you want to go to a gym or a sports event, get vaccinated.
So you basically said this is going to be like, well, it's almost like, you probably don't see it like this, the two different classes of people. If you're vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated, you have all these rights. If you are vaccinated...
That is what it is, so yep. Very soon you won't be able to do many things that you love without being vaccinated, and I expect that will accelerate vaccinations. That is certainly our goal.